Okay, so Ava, what did you think about the internship and the oral history project?
I really appreciated the opportunity to hear firsthand accounts of the revolution in Egypt and what people were doing on the ground there. Coming from a political science background, I learned a lot about the theory of political movements, so it was interesting for me to hear what individuals were doing and how they experienced it.
Yeah, and could you give your full name and where are you at school and what are you studying?
I'm at McGill University. My name is Eva Ugwen Senj, and I'm majoring in political science with a focus on Middle East politics and Canadian foreign policy.
Uh-huh. And you have a dual citizenship, I understand.
Yes, I do. I actually just had that confirmed this year. I'm a Canadian citizen, and my father was born in France, so I now have a French passport.
Uh-huh. And so what you transcribed a couple of interviews that were quite different from one another. What struck you about these interviews?
Well, the first interview I transcribed was a very young activist, 21 years old. His name is Nadim Mansour, and he's a research assistant at the Hisham Mubarak Law Center.
Mm-hmm.
And his interview was really interesting because he's the same age as me, and he just had such an interesting and kind of wide perspective on the conflict. Yeah, he didn't just he talked about the on the ground events, driving people to a field hospital and compiling lists of data, but then he also had an understanding of what were the broader things that needed to be changed in Egypt, such as the emergency law, which really removed the rights of all citizens by making this exception that of national security, basically. So
yeah, and then what was the other interview?
The other interview was with Rashad Antonius, yeah, and he's a professor in Montreal.
Egyptian.
Yeah, Egyptian.
Mm-hmm.
He used to work for a human rights organization in Egypt, and that interview was very interesting as well because he brought a different perspective on military tribunals for one, and on his position on the Muslim Brotherhood, and he with the situation right now with the military in control, his perspective was more that the military was not necessarily to blame as much as some might blame it, and that Egyptians appreciated the military stepping in when the Muslim Brotherhood had been so repressive in their own way and using violent tactics. So he was pretty harsh on the Brotherhood.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that was very interesting too.
And how did this internship and transcribing these interviews, how does this fit in with your overall studies and your academic career?
Well, obviously it fits in with my interest in the Middle East, and more broadly it fits in with my future career, hopefully as a journalist. So it was very interesting to hear how interviews are done, what kind of questions are asked, and also the transcribing process. It was interesting to find out how tedious that is, but I can understand how it's necessary as well. So that was that was interesting for me.
And you're doing this internship as a course, right, at McGill?
Yep, I'm taking this for credits. So I've attended the seminars, done the transcribing, and now I'm required to write a research paper on a topic related to the internship.
Mm-hmm. And how did you find the seminars?
I enjoyed the seminars. I liked hearing and talking about current events in Egypt, especially because the excitement or turbulence is far from over. Mm-hmm. So that was good to continue discussing what's going on there and what the future may hold. It seems very uncertain at the moment. So that was.
And what did you think of the Hisham Mubarak Law Center?
I thought it was a very interesting center. My interview didn't go into the daily operations of it as much, but hearing from the other interns who talked about how decisions are made in a non-hierarchical manner, so everyone from the secretary to the lawyers has an input in decision, like hiring decisions and funding decisions. So that was very interesting to me because not a lot of organizations have that kind of I guess grassroots kind of participation like that, and I could see how it could be effective at making people feel valued and producing their best work. So that was interesting.
20 years from now, what do you think you'll remember about this internship?
20 years from now, it's a long time. I think I'll remember Nadim's interview stood out for me because he was so young. So I think that's what's going to stand out for me, is that someone that was my age at that time was part of this kind of huge change that was happening, and yet still had this perspective on what the real kind of situation was. So that stuck out for me.
Great. Anything else you'd like to say?
No, just that I really appreciated this opportunity, and I hope I get to do something like that in the future again.
Well, thanks a lot. You've been a big help.
Thank you.